From two dirty painters to multiple seven-figure business owners, I'm Redion.
And I'm Karmelo.
And we'll be giving you guys the insider secrets to take your trades business to the next level.
From crazy stories to proven strategies, get ready to supercharge your business with us.
Welcome to the Dirty Painters Podcast. All right, guys. So today we have here Uncle Mitchell, who is one of our most loyal sales reps. He's been with us pretty much since the beginning of Olympian season, Michigan. Mitchell is an IFBB Pro, personal trainer, fitness coach, health enthusiast, big casino degenerate, all the good stuff.
Mitchell has 86.7 thousand followers, and on his page, he dedicates it to sharing motivational content to better the health and lifestyle of his followers.
And in today's episode, we have him here because we want to discuss the importance of self-discipline, and fitness, and how it translates into being a high performer in business setting, and how to a healthier lifestyle will actually make you more money, will help you grow your business. So let's get into it, guys.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm thank you for having me here, guys, and I'm excited to share more information just about how utilizing health and fitness has only benefited me in a business sense, and how it's changed me from a mental and physical perspective, and really offered me more mental clarity throughout the process of just being involved in different business endeavors.
So, sounds good. Take us a little bit. We'll jump in that later. Take us a little bit on your beginnings. Tell us how you got started, where you're from. Tell us how did you fall in love with fitness? How did you get into competing in bodybuilding? And then we'll build up on that and how we met, how we got into business together, our friendship and all that.
Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, I'm originally from Clinton Township, Michigan. It's 25 minutes northeast of Detroit. I went to Fraser School as my whole life and graduated from Fraser High School in 2013. And throughout living in Michigan, it was a cool experience. It taught me grit. It taught me that the harder you work, the more you get out of life. But it also taught me that I wanted more out of life. And that's part of the reason why I moved to Florida and relocated 4 years ago.
Tell us how you got started into fitness. Tell us about what were you like? Played high school football?
Yeah. So I was an athlete my entire life. I started playing sports at 4, started with soccer, baseball, football. And then throughout high school, just played sports, played wide receiver, freshman, sophomore year, senior year, and just love sports. So like when I graduated high school, I was uncertain what I wanted to do as for athletic purposes. And I knew I missed something. And I was like, okay, what can I do that will still keep me in shape and I can still have fun doing so? After getting a gym membership, that was in December of 2013, that was at Powerhouse Fraser, I started working out and realized that when I took control of what I was eating, there was a scientific approach to it. And once I started having an understanding of what to eat and why to eat it, that's when the results really started flowing. And 6 months later, someone asked me, hey, have you ever thought about doing a bodybuilding show? And I was like, never in a million years, because the men's physique division just started in the year 2013. And that year in 2014, I did my first bodybuilding show.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when did you turn pro?
I turned pro in June of 2017.
I think we were friends. Yeah, we were friends then.
Yeah, we were friends by then. Yeah.
How did you two guys meet?
So initially, I DM'd Redion on Instagram all the way back in 2016. And I reached out to him, was like, hey, you want to catch a workout? And I think you initially said, like, oh, I don't really work out with anyone like that. Like, I like to work out.
I thought he was hitting on me, guys. I thought he was trying to, like, flirt with me.
Yeah, definitely was not trying to flirt with you. It was just trying to extract some information from a stock market perspective and kind of just see where you thought in that way of life. And we got to work out together. And then it was just like...
Yeah, we became naturally friends. Actually, have I told you that me and Mitchell tried to start a painting company like a long time ago? What was it? MT painting?
No, it was
or straight line painting?
It was
Straight edge.
It was something. I want to say it was like straight edge, or it was. I thought it was our initials. I thought it was it was M&R painting. Oh. It was M&R. That's
How did
what
that
it was.
go?
I mean,
we gave out like 200 flyers, and I was like, "This is not working."
Yeah, it wasn't working. At the time, I was still working at Green Lantern and still waiting tables, and was still going to college. And so, I mean, we were both kind of trying to figure out things we wanted to do. But it's kind of funny how things just come back full circle, and look where you are now. And
where we are now, because a lot of people don't know that Mitchell actually moved first to Tampa. And then he was like, come visit. I'm like, okay. You know, it was COVID time in Michigan. Everything was shut down. So I'm like, I'll go visit Mitchell for like I think it was like a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came down here. Mitchell came first because he said he decided to leave Michigan. I was like, wow, it's November here. You guys can go out with like t-shirts and shorts. And that's how I kind of fell in love with it. I was like, Mitchell, and we are trying to do an energy drink at the time, but we just brokies and couldn't afford it. So like, why we started a painting business out here? I'm like, let's test the market. So Mitchell was one of the reasons that I came down here at the time to figure out if I want to be down here or just visiting. I wasn't even planning on being down here.
No, yeah, you weren't. And so when I first moved down here, no friends, no family, no job, just essentially took a leap of faith and kind of had faith in God and what was to come. And that was kind of my vision. And I actually didn't even visit here prior to moving here. It was just, I knew that the career opportunities were more prevalent. The bodybuilding community was more vast. And I knew that I kind of was at the top of my level in Michigan, and I needed to surround myself with people that were pushing to do more out of life. So between the career opportunities, the bodybuilding community, and just the weather, the quality of life, I mean, you guys know how it is when you first move down here in the wintertime. It's like this, why would anyone want to experience cold weather ever again if they don't have to, So it was just like,
exactly.
No brainer.
So Mitchell, give us a little bit about your background. Tell people who are listening and they don't know you from Olympian, what you've done. Besides the bodybuilding, you have a marketing degree from Walls College University. Tell us a little bit about your journey up to the point before you decided to move to Tampa.
Yeah. So before moving to Tampa, I've always been like a people person at heart, and
He's a social butterfly.
I am a social butterfly. Redion sees it. Like we'll be out at different places. We were at Wendy's the other day, and I interjected these guys' conversation.
We're eating healthy though. Eating healthy, no carbs, just the patty. So I told you, be careful when you say
lettuce wraps.
There were lettuce wraps.
Actually, it was before we came for the creative meeting here, and I'm like, Mitchell, don't bring your drink in. They'll think we're fat asses. We have to explain to them that we're on a keto diet. So I made him leave his drink in the cart because I'm like, Gunter is going to judge us.
I know. How can you not judge someone when they walk in with a fast food cup? I mean, I feel like it's like kind of those inclinations like, wow, this guy's eating fast food and he looks like this. But I mean, it goes to show you can still eat like fast food and it's still decent quality. And like we were eating lettuce wraps. And like you said, we felt great afterwards. You know, we had no crash whatsoever. Like we were feeling great. And I was surprised. I really was, because I was a little downplaying it a little bit. I'm like, really? You eat Wendy's like that? And he showed me it. And I was shockingly surprised.
It's easy to eat healthy, guys.
No,
it's easy to stay on track and on your goals. You don't have to be there with a little scooper and measuring your protein and the 3 rice beans and all that, and like with a scale. You can stay on track and eat healthy without having to do all that.
Right. And something that I kind of keep in mind and tell other people is think of like eating a meal like a triangle. So you have a protein source, a carb source, and a fat source, just to keep it basic, So it's like you don't have to think about amounts, but a lot of people don't realize that most of the meals in our society are carb focused, So like if you can focus on having some more meat or having more of a protein source, your body will appreciate that through regulating your metabolism.
My triangle is a little bit incomplete. I don't have carbs.
Yeah, I know. You like the keto mentality. I know. It works for you. You just have to figure out what works for you.
Exactly.
And whatever you're getting results off, it's like, okay, this may work for some other person, but it may not work for me. And something I like to keep in mind is you can't always think about what worked before. What worked once for your body in the past may not work in the present time frame. And there's even been times where I've tried to revisit old methods and they weren't working the same way that they did in the past. So it's like constantly remembering that your body is forever changing and you have to make consistent adjustments in order to receive the results that you desire.
How did a healthy lifestyle made you a high performer? Because Mitchell is always on the go. Plus, he travels a lot, so I don't know how he does it. So he's always on the go. He always has energy. He never crashes. He parties a lot too, which blows my mind how he does it. So tell us how bodybuilding, a healthy lifestyle, and the discipline and the commitment throughout the year, because you've been doing this for 10 years, 11 years?
Yeah.
How has that translated into becoming a high performer in other fields of your life?
So,
business, sales. Mitchell worked with us. He's a salesperson. He's our PR manager. He goes out. He does outreach. He sells jobs. So he works within the organization. He's always performing how he's supposed to perform.
So honestly, I had to just pre-plan, and I like to live by a mentality, which is fail to plan, plan to fail. And the reason I have to have that mentality is like, even before I come into work, like after this, I have gym clothes. I have gym clothes in the car because I know that the gym closes at 6:00. So like you have to keep things in mind. Otherwise life will just pass you by. So it's like you have to have a plan in advance in order to have a higher percentage of succeeding. As for you know this better than anyone. Anywhere I go, I always have food on me. Even right now in the car, I have 2 cups of Greek yogurt. I have a couple packets of oatmeal and some nuts. But it's because I like to keep things pre-planned, and laugh at it all you want.
No, it's
Yeah, no, it's
no Wendy's today.
maybe.
Okay.
It depends what you're feeling afterwards. You might be able to sell me on Five Guys, but there's always healthier alternatives that we can utilize, right? So like how you make it work for you with keto is you still eat out, but you choose to pick high protein meals. And when you're picking these high protein meals, high protein, high fat, and but that's also because you burn fat as an energy source. So with having higher protein intake, it regulates your metabolism. And the reason it regulates your metabolism is when you eat protein, your body acts as a thermogenic. When your body acts as a thermogenic, it heats itself up. And when it heats your body up, you're basically speeding up your metabolism. So that's why like people that have a higher protein intake, they usually have a faster metabolism and are in better shape.
What are some of the habits that you developed over the years to help you stay disciplined other than having the meal prep with you all the time, the foods and all that?
Yeah, it's just having non-negotiables, So non-negotiables really just force you to keep in mind, like, okay, what is it I need to do today? Like it doesn't matter the time of the day, even for you, where sometimes you work all day and then 7:30 comes and it's like, okay, I have to go to the gym. And if you give any sense of hesitancy, you're more than likely not to not do it, not to take that action. So it's just like giving yourself no choice, where it's just like, I have to do this no matter what. I'm not going to allow myself to be lazy. And if you do, then you're only breaking your own habits. And it's like about creating that momentum. You told me this story one time about keeping the fire lit. And you said it's a lot harder to start the fire than it is to keep the fire lit. So it's when you can create momentum and you get that started, it's easier to keep that fire getting larger. But once you let the momentum fall, or even starting all over again, it's a lot harder to get started.
That's a good analogy. I don't remember saying that story, but I
I
say a
do.
lot of things I don't remember.
Yeah, no, that's something that I've kept in mind for a long time
That's
because
great.
starting things is not easy. Starting a new habit and just starting from scratch, it takes time. So that's why it's a constant reminder to take things little by little.
And I think a lot of people don't make it a priority, or they don't prioritize their fitness and health overall. Not just being, you don't have to be a hardcore bodybuilder, but you still have to prioritize your health. And I think a lot of people, especially business owners, are there. And me personally, I mean, you remember when we started in Tampa, they make an excuse like, I don't have time to train, I don't have time to eat healthy, and all that is an excuse.
Right.
Like you have to make it a priority.
Yeah.
Like you said, non-negotiables. You have to make fitness a priority, because if you're in good shape and your overall health is good, then you got to perform better in business. That's
Exactly.
very important.
Those non-negotiables, how do they translate into the business world?
Yeah, so I think that when you have non-negotiables in other areas of your life, you force yourself to strive more in your business as well. So if you're keeping in mind that, like, I have to do something, it's like, no matter what, I am going to do this. I think that will reciprocate into using certain time schedules with your work schedule, So if you say I'm working from 8 to 6, then I'm sticking to that. There's nothing else that is a higher priority. So it's just like knowing your list of priorities and know what's important to you and what it's going to take to change what you are currently doing at this time.
How do you think that discipline, because you're one of the most disciplined. I remember when me and Mitchell first started becoming friends, I was like 21 and we're going out. And then Mitchell's like, oh, I'm not drinking. But we would still go out.
Mm-hmm.
So that discipline, I always paid attention. I'm like, okay, this guy is dedicated. He's disciplined enough to not go out and ruin his progress.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that discipline that you've had for the last 10 years make you a better salesperson, make you a better business owner?
Yeah, so having that discipline honestly like changed my life. And the reason it changed my life is because when you say you're going to do something and you can keep those promises to yourself, that means a lot. Because the more you can keep those promises to yourself, the more you trust yourself. The more you can trust yourself in life, the more you can accomplish. It's like you have to have that inner sense of trust in your heart in order to transform into the person that you're destined to be. So the times that we would go out and I wouldn't drink, I would remember that we did a 2.5 hour leg workout. And I'm like, I'm not going to waste this, because if I'm wasting this, what's the point? Why am I going to go in there and bust my ass and kill myself throughout this workout to just go drink it away for some temporary satisfaction? So it's like a lot of things in life are temporary satisfaction. And when you can keep that in mind and realize that, uh, when you can refrain from those things, it makes you so much stronger, because it's like, you know what? I said I wasn't going to eat out this week, or I said that I was going to get my 4 workouts. I get my 4 workouts, I don't have to work out these next 3 days. But if you choose to take off the first 3 days, it's a lot harder. You have to be realistic with yourself, and just realize that the more you stick to the promises that you keep, the more likely you are to just consistently trust yourself, and to have that inner discipline. I would just always keep in mind, like, is this worth it? Is it really worth it? And I would have those questions. And you saw it yourself. I mean, people would buy me shots left and right. They'd be like, come on, have a drink. Come on, have a drink. And I'd be like, look, I'm not drinking. You can force me. You can try to say and do anything that you want. You can give me $100, but I'm going to stick to myself, because I know that sticking to my heart and sticking to my values is a lot more important to my vision. And I think that's what really made me so disciplined. And it was honestly like proving people wrong, where a lot of people would tell me like, oh, you can't go out and not drink. You can't go out and not drink. Like, you can't have fun and do that. And I'm like, you know what? I can still go out, meet people, socialize, and still be completely sober and still stick to my goals.
Yep. And keep the discipline.
Exactly. It's about keeping that discipline, because you keep the discipline to yourself, it keeps the rest of your life disciplined, and that's powerful. I used to have a clothing line, as you know, and one of the figures of speech was discipline is power.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they don't realize that the choices they make now, how they affect their future outcomes.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't realize that, like, oh, I'll go out and I'll have a drink, or I'll get shit faced,
Right.
I'll get hammered, and then they don't realize how that is gonna set them back 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, for example, now that I'm older, if I go out partying like how we used to
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, it's gonna take me 5 days to recover,
Right.
and those 5 days I'm gonna be like lethargic, not have energy, just wander around.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5 days of when I could be performing at my best.
Right.
A lot of people, they don't realize that the choices they make now, they'll screw them in the
Yes.
long run.
No, they will. They will, without a doubt.
What are some good ways that somebody might be struggling with holding themselves accountable for, or, having trouble disciplining themselves? What are a few ways you would advise them to build that discipline up?
Yeah. So I've read this book before, and it's called The Four Tendencies. So there's 4 different types of people. So there's 4 different variations. The first variation is the people that can listen to themselves and listen to other people. So those people are easiest to kind of establish that discipline. So there's another subset of people that are able to listen to themselves but not listen to other people. And then the third subset of variation is the people that can't listen to themselves but can listen to other people. So you can receive a direction or you can get orders. Now, the last and fourth type of people, and a lot of people are like this, is they can't listen to themselves and they can't listen to other people. So like you kind of have to figure out like what is it that works for you. For me, I hired a coach back in 2017, and that was really revolutionary for me and transformational, because I learned so much throughout that process. Where when you make a monetary commitment, you keep that in mind. Like, I paid for this, I'm going to stick to it. And having that sense of commitment is really what it takes to really transform yourself. So as for creating daily disciplines, it's being realistic with yourself. But a lot of the times you need outside accountability, where it's not your friends, it's not your family, it's a coach that you hire. And the reason you hire someone is because you want to change, but sometimes making that monetary commitment is like, oh shit, I paid for this, I need to do it now.
Yeah, because a lot of people out there, they don't have the mental toughness to hold their own self accountable.
Exactly. And if you know that about yourself, you have to be real with yourself. The first step is just having that level of awareness to know, like, okay, this is how I am, this is how I operate. And if I want to see changes, then it's up to me to invest in myself in order to do so. Now, other ways that I've created additional discipline is through reading, and just reading. Like, for example, one of my favorite books is 15 Laws of Growth by John Maxwell. And that really taught me that the more you grow, the more you want to grow in other areas of life. So it becomes like a reciprocal effect, where you start growing in one area, and bodybuilding really transformed my mind. And the reason bodybuilding transformed my mind is because I would think of how I could improve the workout each and every time. So it's like I wasn't just working out to work out. I'm thinking in my head,
So
how
you're
can
tracking data.
mentally,
Yeah.
mentally, yes. But could I be tracking this data from like an outside perspective? Definitely. But just making those mental keynotes, like, okay, how can I increase this efficiency? You know, it's never like, okay, I'm just doing this and this is how it's going to be. It's like, no, how can I improve this each and every time?
And that discipline every day of like, hey, 6 o'clock, I'm working out. I have to eat a certain amount of meals.
Mm-hmm.
So that discipline can carry on business because like business is tough. And if you don't have discipline, a lot of days you don't feel like working.
Right.
So your discipline has to kick in because I see it a lot. A lot of people, they don't know the difference between motivation and discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just get fired up. They get all gassed up and they're like, oh, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to kill it. But they don't understand that motivation is bullshit.
Right.
Motivation doesn't get anything done.
Right.
Motivation will get you going, but discipline needs to kick in so you can get things done.
Exactly. So motivation is temporary. You know, motivation is only a feeling.
Yep.
When you have discipline, there's no sense of doubt. You know what I'm saying? So like when you have motivation, it's a type of emotion where you're like, oh, I'm amped up.
Yep.
I'm ready to go. Like, let's go, baby. You're not going to have those days all the time.
No.
And you and I both know that.
What are you going to do on the days that you don't feel like it?
Exactly. And most of the days, even after this, do I really want to go to the gym? It's rainy out here in Tampa today. I would rather just hang out and spend time with some friends and just relax. But I know that if I continue to take time off, it's like you're only hurting yourself. And it's like constantly keeping that state of mind that in life, things are either helping you or they're hindering you. Nothing is ever keeping you the same. And that's your friends, that's your family, that's your habits. And it's constantly having that level of awareness to have that knowingness in your heart. Like, okay, what is this doing for me?
Exactly. So yeah, guys, motivation, throw it out the door, set up disciplines in your life, fitness, business, and then that's going to set up the groundwork to get things done. Because every day you're not going to feel like it, but you're going to have those set rules or disciplines. You're like, okay, I have to go at the office at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like it every day, but I know that I have to go do it for certain things or the gym. Like, and you saw this firsthand, protein 6, junk food. When we started in Tampa, Mitchell was pretty much my only team member at the time. So we were stressed. We're trying to make money. I was like, okay, I have my business in Michigan, cash flowing me, paying all my bills. I'm like, this is not right, Mitchell. So we're stressed out. And I use it as an excuse, which I shouldn't have.
Of course.
And then I let myself go big time. I didn't have any disciplines. I was just going with the flows. And then I saw how it backfired on me big time. Like, for example, like we eat garbage and then I'll be like, oh, I need a nap now. And we'd like, I remember one time I took a nap at the shop because I was so lethargic and tired. And then I missed like 2 appointments.
Yeah.
So those are things that if you don't have a good overall health, they'll affect your business.
Definitely.
Big time.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't have a sound, healthy routine in life, you will not have a sound business. And it's kind of keeping that like same mindset where it's like, okay, people are counting on me, but you also have to be able to count on yourself. And when you're able to count on yourself, it's like, okay, I got this and I know I got this.
Yeah.
So it's like, no matter what, I am going to do this and I'm not going to allow myself to fall. And when you said something, you were like, I get to the shop 7 a.m. You have people counting on you. You have you have employees that they have children, they have a family, this isn't just you, you have people that are counting on you. And it's like, you keep in mind that
you got to perform.
Exactly. You
not just for yourself, but for your organization.
Right. And it keeps in mind that you have other people counting on you too. So it's not only about you. And that's why you just keep that fire lit and just keep it going and keep it rolling and going and keep it growing. And
we only had one business at the time. We couldn't even be efficient.
I know.
And the difference, since I kicked myself in the ass, I was like, hey, I got to get my shit together.
Yeah.
Now we're running multiple businesses with multiple partners in different states. I'm like, I could have never done that 3 years ago when I was a fat piece of shit.
Right.
So it's impossible to be a high performer if you're not in good shape.
It is.
It's impossible.
It is, especially from the mental clarity perspective, So like when you establish like a sound eating routine and a sound exercise routine, you're able to have a mental clarity that is like none other. And it's almost like you have such an advantage in comparison to everyone else, because the mental clarity that you have, it's just next to none. It's almost like you have no distractions. You have nothing that is on your mind other than the task at hand. And to kind of talk about distractions a little bit, and we've discussed this before, but you've always kept your circle small. And I think having outer distractions, even in business and in life, has had either a positive or a negative effect on you. So like if you have friends around that are constantly asking you, "Hey, you want to go out? Hey, you want to go out?" It's a distraction and it's tempting.
Yep.
You never had those things, and it's funny because I always wanted all the friends in the world. And then I came to realize that the more friends that you have, the more you have to also manage too, So everything in life, you have to manage a friendship, you have to manage a
You
relationship.
gotta
And
put
those same
effort.
exactly. You have to put effort towards those. And if you don't, then they will diminish.
And you can be a high performer, guys, by having a huge circle and trying to be a social butterfly every weekend and going out. And we've done that. Remember, we had a friend group back in Detroit. We would go out level 2 every night, bottle service, go crazy. Where are those guys now?
Yeah. Still in the same place.
Still the same
In the
place.
same place.
So that's why, like, if you want to be a high performer, you cannot be doing those things.
Yeah.
And we kind of broke off from the circles and we created our own little circle,
Right.
which we all think the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's important that you have like friend groups that like all think the same way. And it's like sacrifice now will create salvation later. You have to create these sacrifices that it's like, it's what needs to be done. If you're not making any sacrifices, then you can't expect to receive any sense of glory.
Yep.
So it's like putting in the
And you
work.
also got to train yourself. You have to be disciplined enough. Do you want the instant gratification of going out, getting all the girls, being the man of the club and all of that? Or do you want to focus on skipping that and then doing something that's going to benefit you a year down the road or 3 months down the road, 2 months
Right.
down the road, which a lot of people don't see like that.
Exactly.
They
And
think different.
it's having that long-term mentality where it's like things are going to add up and compound every single day, so it's like that compound interest, where it's like, could I take off the gym today? Yeah. Could I? So for example, as I just came back from some travels, being on the cruise, was I working out as regularly? I was working out like every other day. I could have chosen to take off every single day. And would it have changed my body? You and I both know this. No. Likely not. But it's like having those habits is what is so important to, no matter what, I'm doing this not from a physical perspective, but because of the mental component, where it's like mentally you have to keep that consistency and keep that fire lit. Because even if I take off 6 days, after doing that, I didn't want to go back. I've been working out 9 years, 6 days a week. And if I take a week off, it's almost like I could just keep taking time off, where it's keeping that in mind. Like if you let your foot off the gas, it's so easy to just fall back, and it's so easy to just go with the flow. It's
lose momentum.
Exactly. And when you lose the momentum, it's really fucking hard to get that back.
Oh yeah. Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, Redion, why are you training 7 days a week? You got to rest." I'm like, it's not only training for the physical aspect, it's the mental aspect as well. Like doing something that sucks every day, because I don't like waking up early in the morning and going do my workouts or going after work. Trust me, like the days are long. I just want to go chill on my couch. But
Of course.
the mental thing, like I'm going to get this done. It's what I chase. I mean, obviously the physical and then looking good and feeling good is come, but it's the mental aspect of getting the workout done, the discipline of getting it done, even when I don't feel like it.
Exactly. And the more you do things that you don't feel like, it grows an area in your brain. And I learned this actually recently from Andrew Huberman. So there's an area in your brain called the mid-cingulate cortex. And basically, the more you do difficult things, the more that area grows. The more you don't do difficult things and you keep yourself comfortable, the more that area decreases.
So something that sucks every single day.
Every day. The more you do things that suck, the more you grow. And the more you grow, the more you can be the person that you actually want to be. And it's like a lot of these people try to limit ourselves, myself included, where it's like we try to figure out ways that are a little easier. And it's like, okay, how can I like cut the corners, or how can I like not cross my T's and dot my I's? Like you have to go above and beyond in order to be an extraordinary person. If you want
a high performer.
Yeah. If you want to be a high performer, you have to be able to like you have to do whatever it takes. Like there is no making excuses. You may have a family to take care of. You may have friends that you want to see, but you have to realize, what do you want? And you have to ask yourself that.
Because business is literally war.
It is.
Like the business world over there is so savage.
It is.
All your competitors are out to get you. That's why you have to find any edge you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Because I treat business as an MMA fight.
Right.
So you have to prepare for it. You have to be at the best physical condition. You have to be at your best mental condition.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be everywhere. You have to be A1, because once you go out there and start competing with those sharks,
Right.
because at the scale that you want to do things, you want to be a high performer, those people will kill you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of high performers, and we deal with a lot of multimillionaires, 100 millionaires, the first thing that they prioritize is their health. Because
Right.
that mental clarity, they're going to outperform their competition.
Exactly.
Guaranteed. And it's like also the confidence that you get in being in shape and walking into a room and being in best shape than anybody else.
Right.
You're going to carry yourself very differently. Besides, the looks and all that, it's the confidence that you're going to go in there and you're like, okay, I'm the man. And I noticed that a lot with you. Every time we go into a place, nobody knows how much money you have. Nobody knows what you drive. Nobody knows how successful you are. But you attract that attention just by the way you carry yourself.
Right.
And people want to be around you. And I think that's what gives you a lot of edge, because a lot of times customers are like, oh yeah, we love Mitchell and all that, because they get impressed. Because when you walk in there and you have a respectable physique, clean cut, presentable, it shows that you're a disciplined person, that you're going to take care of them, because you take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Very important.
Yeah.
That's what switched my mindset. I was like, okay, I started noticing how people treat you. Even when we were going to estimate together, when I was training you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, that's how it should be. That's how you get that edge over the competition, because the average painter smokes, drinks Mountain Dews, eat donuts. They go in there, they smell. And then we go in there with a complete different presentation,
Right.
looking different. And that's how we get that edge.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. I've noticed that a lot with you, and like even now that my physique has changed a lot, people treat me different.
Of course.
Oh,
Of
back
course.
in the sick cunt area, dude, it was crazy. Like I was broke, I was poor, but I had all these connections just because they wanted to gravitate around me because I was shredded.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I gotta get that back. And once you have that edge, and then you team it up with being successful in a business setting, and then giving people value, you're gonna be unstoppable.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, you know this, I graduated high school at 140 pounds, and the way that people spoke to me or treated me from a respect standpoint was nowhere near the same way when I was 165 pounds and had like 18-inch arms, So like
Big time.
people treated me so much differently just based upon the way that I looked. And just because you may not treat someone differently, or even for myself, like I don't really look at anyone different based upon the way that they look, it doesn't mean that everyone else is the same. Just because that I look at something from some way doesn't mean that anyone else may have like another perspective, So it's like when we're walking in these places, I don't keep my head on a swivel. My head stays straight. And the reason I do that is because I don't give a shit who's in the room. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm there because I want to spend time with the people that I'm there with. I want to enjoy my time. And it doesn't matter who's there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like having that mentality, whether like I'm going to be me and I'm going to be confident in who I am no matter what. And that's really a big component of like with exercise and fitness, how it's trickled over into business.
Yeah, because you walk into a business meeting and you automatically just take over the room.
Of course.
Automatically.
Why do you think that is?
Because I think it goes back into like the human nature back in the day, because I know it's gonna sound douchey, but like a lot of the alpha males were like big, strong, in shape, hunters and all that. And then our brains are still wired the same way that were wired 10,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, for example, when we're doing that design meet with builders, and we walk in there, and all of a sudden all the attention shifts to us. That's why I bring Mitchell a lot of times with me, because we walk in there and like everybody's, holy shit, who are these guys? And Mitchell shows up with like his Olympian shirt, like arms about to rip the shirt off. We assert that, hey, we're here to take care of business because look how we look.
Right.
And I think that's such an energy in the room that, okay, we're the guys.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's huge.
No, I agree.
In even more important meetings in like the other businesses,
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that as well. It's just because how human biology works.
Right.
Or when you shake somebody's hand and your bicep is fucking ripping through the shirt, who do you think they're gonna take more seriously?
Of course.
The fat painter that's gonna come there and is gonna be like, yeah, not even shake their hand, looking like a slob, or you be like, yeah, man, we're gonna do business together. We're gonna take care of you.
Right. And it's also like a personality standpoint, like when I speak to people, I look them in the eyes. It's when you're confident in what you're saying and you're confident in your tonality, I think that plays a big component. I think there's a stipulation where it's like I pick things up and put them down that a lot of like bodybuilders per se don't care about their intelligence. But honestly, like my brain is so much more important to me than my body. And the reason I can say that is because when I first started health, like bodybuilding and working out, it transformed my brain. And the reason it transformed my brain is because of that perspective that I was explaining, that I go so much further in depth when I'm working out. And you talked about something earlier about going to war, so like when I first started playing football and before a game, and you would know this with playing basketball, you're going to war. Like there's no one out there that is going to be on their game more than you are. But it's like having that mental switch, like, okay, it's time to go. It's time to get shit done. It's time to make things happen. And when I first started working out and being in the gym, I didn't give a fuck who was there.
Yeah.
I really didn't, because it was like, no matter what, I'm gonna bust my ass. I'm gonna work as hard as I can, and I'm gonna strive to become Mr. Olympia. And you knew that even from day one. So Radion knew me before I turned pro, and before
Mitchell always used to say, I'm going to win my pro card. I'm going to win my pro card. He used to say that 2 years before he won his pro card.
yeah,
And he took action and he did the things that he had to do.
right,
So he visualized it, he set a goal, and he went on it.
mm-hmm.
He didn't allow any distractions. And
Right.
I experienced that firsthand because we were training partners.
Mhm.
So we're training together. So he was like, I'm doing this.
Exactly.
And I remember I was like, okay, I remember thinking, like, I'm not going to really ask Mitchell to go out and do all these things because I don't want to set him back from his goals.
Right. And we would still go out, but it's like
We wouldn't drink.
we wouldn't drink. Exactly. So it's like, can I create a balance, and some people aren't able to do that. I have a lot of friends that they tell me like, I can't go out and not drink. I think it's boring. I think there's nothing to do. And I'm like, you know what? I'd rather go out and go socialize than not go out at all,
Yep.
So, but it's like,
You can find a balance.
right.
You can find balance in everything.
Right.
It's when you overindulge and overdo things where the scale starts to tip.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a big thing. Because a lot of people, they'll go all the way in,
Mm-hmm.
or they'll just let go and not give a fuck at all.
I feel like that's the type of society we live in, though. It's either like we're either all in or all out. And the reason that is because of the instant gratification. We see a lot of these things that seem easy to accomplish. We see all these physiques on Instagram. We see all these people making all this money per se. And it's all like,
And we compare.
correct.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to not compare, but it's like comparison is a thief of joy. So it's you can't be comparing yourself to anyone because you're only cheating yourself. So like if you want to create some changes or maybe adapt some principles that other people have in their life, then you have to take it upon yourself. And it's like something you said about when I sit at the table, people have a different presence, and it's because when you carry yourself with like a respectable mannerisms and you trust what you're saying, that shows, so it's not about what you're saying to people all the time, but it's also about how you're saying it. And I've probably read this book like 15 times. It's called How to Talk to Anyone, and just really paying attention to your tonality and just not what you're saying, but how you're saying things to people just goes such a long way.
Also, a lot of people, they need to learn how to delay instant gratification.
Yes.
Because in business, you're not going to start a business today and be successful immediately.
Right.
It took us 6 years to get to the point where we are right now. And it's the same at the gym. You're not going to go to the gym today and you're going to have arms looking like Mitchell. It's a compounding effect.
Mhm.
You have to do those small steps every day to get to the level you want to get.
Yeah.
And then business and fitness correlate with each other, because if you don't learn how to delay instant gratification, you're going to kill yourself. You're going to kill your moods. You're going to be down on yourself and you're going to be like, oh, I suck. I'm a loser.
Mm-hmm.
But once you learn how to delay that instant gratification and you're looking at the long-term results, that's when the switch is going to flip and you're going to be a different person.
Right. And another figure of speech I like to utilize is like patience pays. And it's not only that it pays in business, but it pays in all areas of life.
Mhm.
Because like with bodybuilding, I wasn't rushed. There wasn't like a sense of like, I have to do this right now. It's I'm going to take day by day, focus on the process, focus on what I need to do, and take control of all the variables that are in my control.
Yeah.
So it's like having that, like, okay, I can only take this one day at a time, but what can I do to improve the following day?
Correct.
So it's like in the book Atomic Habits of having that
Mitchell is a
1%.
geek. He
I'm a
reads
geek.
lot.
I'm a geek. I like to read. I have over like 250 books in my house. Like people,
But he reads and also implements what he reads, because
Right.
you can't just read stuff and like, okay, I read 500 books, but you're not implementing anything that you learn from them. So.
Exactly. So like a lot of the books that I read, like I take notes on them and then like reflect after them. And like another thing that I think health and fitness taught me that incorporated into like a business sense is there's like a circle of that I utilize. So it's plan, act, reflect. Okay. So like I'll set the plan. I know what I want to accomplish. When you're acting, when you're taking action, it's super important to not focus on like how fast you're getting to that goal, how fast you're getting to that $1 million, how fast you're getting to that six pack. Because the more you think about how fast you can get there, the more you're going to try to cut corners.
Yep.
And the more you try to cut corners, the faster you're going to delay the actual process. So
And you're not building a good base.
exactly. You have to build a foundation. You build the foundation to start, you take the action, you do everything that you need to do, and then afterwards you reflect. And the reason that you have to reflect, and I honestly think that reflecting might be the most important component, is because you have to review what you can improve the next time. So like
Right.
even with these travels that I just went on, I had a huge reflection standpoint because I'm like, okay, what did I learn? What was the biggest takeaway from being in these other cities? And honestly, what it is that people have such a different perspective in these other countries and they have so much less. So it just really makes you realize that when you're grateful for the things that you do have, you
You change your mindset.
exactly.
And you change your perspective.
Exactly. You change your perspective, you have a different viewpoint of life, and you have that different viewpoint. It's like,
That's,
okay,
because a lot of our audience is painters.
Definitely.
Who, they don't have healthy lifestyles.
Mhm.
Let's give them 3 tips, all 3 of us, on how they can create those healthy habits and how they can become a high performer to serve their business better, serve their personal lives, and all that. We'll start with Carmelo.
So again, if you're having trouble keeping yourself accountable, I would start with the little things. Initially, I had an issue with keeping myself accountable. I was out of the gym, I would say, for about 2 years when we were focusing mostly on the business. So a few ways I started disciplining myself to get into shape back again. I invested a little bit into some home gym equipment,
Mhm.
some dumbbells, and then set some reminders on my phone.
Mhm.
That way, I have the reminder on, always ringing, and I thought, okay, it's time to do this.
Mhm.
We need to go get this done. Also, eating healthy. I didn't really cook at the time,
Mhm.
so and we were mostly alone at
Mhm.
the when we first came down to Tampa.
Our mommy wasn't down.
Yeah, we didn't have our personal chef at the time. And even fast food options, they have healthy alternatives. Like you guys said, the lettuce wraps, there's always another healthy alternative. So looking at the nutritional value, you can create a little plan for yourself.
Mhm.
Okay, this day I can have uh, a Wendy's lettuce wrap, or next day I can have a Chipotle bowl.
Or
but
go
a
to Longhorn
salad.
and get a steak and salad
Yeah.
Right.
for $24. It's
Mhm.
not expensive to eat healthy.
Yeah.
Or get a meal prep company like Mitchell does with, what is it?
So the name of the company that I utilize is AM Fit Meals. They're located in South Tampa and then Britton Plaza, right next to Redion Church.
And then another thing that Carmelo, I noticed that he did was like, okay, 6 o'clock would roll around. We're like, okay, he's like, it's time to go to the gym now. Because before, remember, we'd be like, okay, we still have work to do. We'd be working until 10 o'clock at night. And we're like,
Mhm.
oh, fuck it. Let's go have a pizza and just fucking chill.
Right.
But now we're like, okay, work is done. 6 o'clock, no matter what happens, we prioritize to get that
Mhm.
time.
But it's having those non-negotiables
Yeah.
and why it's so important. So
Exactly.
So it would
and
be
and the third one will
Yep.
be the non-negotiables. Always telling myself, "Hey, we got to do this."
Mhm.
6 o'clock, just like you mentioned. This time is dedicated to the gym time.
Mhm.
And we're doing way better in business than what we used to do by being unhealthy, working 14 hours a day. We're doing way better now.
Yeah. As soon as I changed it to that curriculum, I saw myself selling more, selling better. I didn't have those days. Those days that I didn't have motivation, they were more rare
Mhm.
afterwards because of my
Clarity.
mental clarity. Yes,
And
just like I
energy
mentioned
levels
earlier.
too.
Yeah.
We didn't need the nap after work.
Yeah, no, never.
No,
When
that's-
we used to have those big lunches, and that was it. Production stops at 12:30.
And then I think the biggest thing for me was setting the non-negotiables, which
Mhm.
I suggest to everybody that's trying to build a healthy lifestyle. Make it a priority.
Right.
Make it a priority getting a workout done, like Carmelo did. He bought equipment for our house. No matter what, even if he didn't have time to go to the gym, we would still do something. 200 push-ups, 300 push-ups, dumbbell curls, air squats, jump rope. So make it a priority. No matter what, 30 to an hour a day, you're going to get some physical activity.
Right.
Then number two, clean up your diet. It's very easy to eat healthy. And a lot of people don't like what I do, like the keto diet and all that. But if you do some research on it, it's a great diet for a high performer because you don't have to eat as often.
Right.
You don't have to eat as much. Your options out there are unlimited because all you have to do is find a good quality source of meat and fat and just cut out the carbs and add veggies on it. Very easy. Like yesterday, we just had Wendy's.
Yeah.
Our goals didn't get compromised. We still perform. Our diet is still on point. Clean up your diet. There's a lot of ways. Number two, it's the most important thing, I think. Just figure out what you can eat every day because a lot of us are on the go all the time. So, or fast. Fasting has been helping a lot because I don't have to like search around and go get lunch at 1 o'clock, spend an hour trying to find something to eat. I just eat when I have to eat. I schedule my eating.
Right.
And number three, setting goals. So that was my biggest thing as well. If you want to get into those routines and those habits and those disciplines, is setting micro goals and macro goals.
Right.
So in this month, I'm going to lose 3 pounds. In 6 months, I want to lose 15 pounds. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do that. So set those goals, write them down, visualize them, and then start working towards them.
Right.
Those are the 3 most important things. And just be active. Just don't use excuses because a lot of people, the most common excuse is like, oh, I don't have time.
Right.
Do push-ups in your office.
So I have a question for the both of you because obviously, like you and I both know that I've always really worked out 6 days a week. There's never been a time that I haven't worked out 6 days a week. In the past, you had a consistent workout regimen and you did as well. And then things came up. So why do you think it is so many entrepreneurs or business owners have periods of time where they push off their health and as a priority? Why do you think that takes place?
I'll let Karmelo answer first.
So when that hiatus started for me, we really started to blow up. So we had a lot of work that we needed to take care of. And at the time, well, at least me personally, I was afraid of delegating responsibilities to other people. I always had that mentality back then that, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And I kind of took time out of the gym just so I can focus it towards the business, which is a huge mistake.
To be brutally honest, I think I just had a weak mindset.
Okay.
I was a loser. I call myself a loser because I was making excuses. I was like, oh, I have too much work. I'll skip the gym. I'll eat like shit. It's just weak mindset. It's just like I had to switch my mentality. I'd be like, okay, I need to make those changes and I need to make those things a priority. So for me, I think the hiatus for the 2 years, I just think I was very weak minded and I was making excuses.
But what caused you to have that weak mindset after creating a strong mindset?
Just I used the business as an excuse, like Karmelo said for himself. Like I used the workload, the business struggles, issues, working 14 hours a day, trying to grow the business to the level where it's at now. I just used it as an excuse.
Definitely.
And I was not efficient.
Makes sense.
So that was the biggest thing, I think. Making excuses.
And I think that's common, I mean, it's a reminder that like we all have excuses. We all have things that come up in life, but if we constantly push off things, then we're just always going to be pushing off who we want to be. And I think you made a point there where you talked about having a weak mindset, where if more people in general just focused on having a strong mindset in doing one thing every single day that they don't want to do, it would make them stronger, So it's
you can
like
train your discipline muscle by that.
Exactly. You have to do the things that you don't want to do. And that's why I think it's so important to do things like first thing in the morning where you can impress your subconscious. You impress your subconscious and let's say you get up and you do 50 push-ups. For me, I prefer to get up and meditate. I meditate for 11 minutes. And after, like, I enjoy the first minute of meditating. But if you think I enjoy meditating after 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 minutes, it's a long time. And I'm like, when the fuck is this time going to go up? Like, when is this timer going to go off? But what it does and why it makes me so much stronger is because I don't allow myself to look at my phone, to look at the clock until that timer goes off. My phone is flipped over. It's over in the corner. I'm forcing myself, like, I have to do this. And it's like the more you keep in mind and just focus on having that strong mindset, the more you will grow and prosper and become the person that you're ultimately destined to be.
Give 3 tips to tubby painters out there that want to become high performers and become better business owners, better with the family time, just becoming a better person by creating an overall healthy lifestyle.
So I'm gonna say number one will be changing your mindset, and I'm gonna say changing your mindset because you have to start from the inner standpoint in order to make changes from an exterior standpoint. So you have to change your overall perspective. Like the time is now. The time isn't going to be later. If
Take
you're-
action now.
Exactly. You take action now. If you're doing that, then that's how you're going to transform yourself. So that would be my first one is focus on changing your mindset first. I think that's super important because we try to take all these actions, we try to take all these changes, and then it's like, what are you actually changing from an inner perspective? So then number two, have an intention as to what you want to eat and have that knowingness where you said to me even before the workday, you were like, all right, we're gonna get Wendy's for lunch. And I was like, Wendy's? Why the fuck are we getting Wendy's? And then I realized it was actually fairly healthy. You know, the meat was fairly high quality and it
So
was
set your
good meat.
ground rules for your diet.
Exactly. Set ground rules, but like have an intent where it's like, don't allow yourself to just go do things on the fly, you know? So like, even if you're not cooking all your meals in advance. So like personally, I'm a fan of using like crockpot chicken. And then that way I can just throw in like 5 pounds of chicken. I'll throw in some rice in there. I let it cook for 8 hours. And then I didn't have to do anything to cook it. And number three will be realistic with time frames.
Okay.
So be realistic with yourself. Always know that you only like you can't try to bite off more than you can chew. And you have to be like, okay, I have the kids 5 days a week. I know I can only work out 3 days a week. So
You have kids?
Oh yeah, plenty. No, I have no kids. Theoretical example, Uncle George.
No kids that he knows of.
Yeah, he calls me Uncle Mitch. He's Uncle George. The reason he's Uncle George is George was his old boss, and now I'm Uncle Mitch because I'm gonna be that uncle. So set realistic goals. The reason you have to set realistic goals is because you have
So
to be
I
real
should
with
not
yourself.
expect to look like you
No,
if I go to the gym for 2 weeks, right?
no, fuck no. You're not gonna have 20-inch biceps in a month, and people.
Why not?
Why? Because that's not how things work.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
because a lot of people
yeah, no,
they
100%.
think like that. They're like, I'll go to the gym for 2 weeks.
Right.
And then,
It's never going to happen. I mean, like the reason I look the way that I do is because of the compound effect. That's the main reason is like when you realize that it's a day by day thing. You can't focus on like what I want to look like too far down the road, you know, and it's just like take everything day by day, but also hold yourself accountable. If you say you're going to do something,
do it.
fucking stick to it.
Yeah, be a man or a woman. But a lot of guys out there that are just fucking pansies.
Yeah. No.
Like, I'm going to do something. They don't do it. And I see that a lot. They
Yeah.
set goals and then the next thing you know, they flake.
Well, because talk is cheap.
Yeah.
It's fucking easy to say shit. You know, I mean, you can say all you want, but what I had to do when I turned pro was I had to eliminate all distractions. And there was a lot of things that I no longer did, but I had to sacrifice in order to make changes. And it's like, if you want to make changes, you're going to have to give something else up. You might have to give those Wednesday night out with the boys. You know, you might have to give up certain things in order to make time for others.
To wrap this up, has fitness made you a better business owner, a better
by
salesperson?
By far. Fitness has changed my life in so many insane ways, and it's only allowed me to create the preliminary that to just be a high achiever, because it just made me want more out of life.
And
Really
be a
did.
high performer too,
Yeah, exactly.
because you increase your mental capacity and your physical capacity.
Mhm.
How about you, Carmelo? Have you noticed any differences we started going to the gym the last 6 months together?
Tremendous difference in energy, confidence, and then the way people perceive me. Just like you said, when you walk into a room and you're in good physical shape, instinctively, the human mind just commands respect because, okay, this guy has put in the time, the effort, the sculpt his body into this physical shape that he is currently in. So he is a real go-getter.
Right.
Is what I would say.
Right. And a lot of people feel like they don't have the resources, you know.
Oh, it's
Think
easy,
of YouTube. Think of you. So I like calling YouTube University because it's like,
well, Gunther called that earlier too.
see, it's a new age thing. It's a Gen Z thing, even though I'm Gen Y. So we're not going to talk about my age
I
there.
thought we're millennials.
Yeah, we are millennials.
Oh.
That's Gen Y.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's Gen Z because
We're
he's
old.
young. Yeah, we got some youngins here. So,
Cool. Awesome. I think
Yeah,
that
some
was
cool.
great, man. I think we gave a lot of insight to a lot of people out there that they don't prioritize their health. And I think if you guys prioritize your health and your fitness, you'll see a major difference in your business.
I agree.
Guaranteed. and set those rules, set those disciplines.
Stick to your disciplines. Keep in mind that the weekends are 2 out of 7 days of the week, and they still really matter.
The weekends are meant for work.
Exactly. Yeah, no. Weekends, you have to stick to your guns. You can't just blow it all out of the water.
It's balance.
Yeah, you got to have balance, of course. But you also have to realize, like, if you eat everything and anything on the weekends, how do you expect to change throughout the week? Yep. You know, there's those people that are like, they stick to everything. They stick to all their meal preps Monday through Friday, but then Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, it's all shit, you know? And then they just blow all their progress.
Just find the balance. That's the key. All about balance.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So this will wrap up our 5th episode.
Be sure to follow our business on Instagram at Olympian Painting and our personal pages over at Olympian_Redion, Olympian_Karmelo. Also, make sure to follow Mitch at Mitch Spade. He has a lot of cool fitness content out there for you people that are trying to get in better physical shape.
He's a little bit half naked, so prepare for his Instagram profile, guys. And guys, if you like this episode, be sure to share it with a fellow painter or tradie that might find valuable what we discussed today. Until the next time, this is Redion.
And I'm Karmelo.
Signing off from the Dirty Painters Podcast.
Take care.